My name is Dr. Franklin Hall. In 2013, I had a run-in with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and this was implied to be my origin story, because I have spent many decades in the comic books as a formidable foe of the Avengers. However, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, my permanently postponed vilification has caused me to be even more appreciative of those who were lucky enough to actually become villains. They have gone through a lot of trauma in their lives. I have put together this new show in the effort of helping them through this process. Everyone talks about the defeat, but no one talks about what happens next. This is post-defeat! Quite possibly the most scariest part about life is that no matter how much we search, we will never have all the answers. Who are we, really? Where do we really come from? Is Howard the Duck gay? And how in the fucking hell did this happen? So we should never stop reminding ourselves that with each mystery we solve, there's always going to be another one to pop up in its place. We used to think we were the only ones in the universe, then all of a sudden, Super-Duper-Man showed up. Not to mention the Asgardians. We used to believe that mutants were a recent thing, but then all of a sudden an ancient Egyptian decided to fuck up the 80s. And we used to believe that the heroes will always be the heroes, while the villains will always be the villains. But as we recently found out, the heroes are too busy fighting each other like villains, and the villains are too busy saving the world like heroes. So with that in mind, we are always discovering new surprises this universe has to offer. So it was high time that we followed those other reality/documentary shows that try to dig deep into the paranormal, with some concrete explanations behind all of these perplexing myths and legends. But what's going to set us apart from those shows is that we will actually get the concrete proof instead of hyping it up only to be like, oh, it's still a mystery, oh, we promised to get the answers but we didn't, so we're gonna pretend that we didn't promise you even though we did. Well, history is filled with people who claim to have magical abilities. But they always seem to be really fakey McFake. But not this one, because out of all those people who claim to be magic, one of them seems to be the real deal. Not only does he claim to be a sorcerer, but also he claims that there is a whole underground society of sorcerers. But the only way to know for certain that he was telling the truth was to experience his magic firsthand. This is internet history. You are about to experience real-life magic in front of your very eyes. This is not for the faint of heart. Do you go by the title of Baron by any chance? Simply Mordo is fine. Yeah, man, this is the second time this year I have had to interview someone who's supposed to be a Baron, but isn't. First Baron Zemo, now you. I guess interviewing Mr. Baron made up for it, but still, there's no actual Baron. Why are you so fixated on barons when you should be focusing on the fact that I am a sorcerer? Well, to be honest, Mr. Mordo, because you're not Baron Mordo, the reason why I'm not that focused on it is because I'm a little skeptical. You know, I'm not really a believer of that kind of things. I'm a bit of a skeptic when it comes to the supernatural. Really? A skeptic? The man who can control gravity and is best friends with a bunch of aliens? Hey now, we live in a world where all of that has been proven, okay? Superpowers have been proven because I have them, and aliens have been proven because I'm friends with a couple of them. One of them I'm not friends with. He claims I'm friends with him, but I suggest otherwise. But something that has not been proven yet in this world is mysticism. The occult type of stuff. Magic, if you will. That is something that's still iffy on. Didn't you just recently have an encounter with a demon who was trying to end the world? Yes, but demons are biblical stuff. I'm talking about mystical magical stuff. Oh, good God. Is that not the same thing? A lot of people would argue with that. There's Christians who don't believe in magic. That is really difficult to grasp. Don't you realize that? Keep in mind, Mordo, it's all about perspective. And from my perspective, I have not witnessed anything that counts as true mysticism proving. So, give it to me, huh? Give it to me! Give me the mysticism! Come on, then! You keep talking about it, so give it to me! Give it to me real good and nice! Alright, you asked for it. Oh, my Steppenwolf! Do you believe in mysticism now, Mr. Franklin? This could be magic, or it could be that you sneaked me some drugs. And if it's the latter, then, I guess thanks for the drug trip, I guess. But still, I need some more proof than that, okay? Alright? Do you really believe that this is a drug trip? I'm sorry, Mordo, but you're going to have to be more convincing than that. Like, give me some facts behind your magic. Like, how the fuck do you do it? Well, according to the Ancient One, we harness the energy from other dimensions and apply it in our dimension, in a phenomena that you normies refer to as magic. Okay, I guess I'm kind of grasping what you're talking about. Who is this Ancient One you're speaking of? Oh, Dormammu rest her soul. She is no longer with us. She is in the afterlife now, hanging out with Quicksilver and Thor's mom and Peggy Carter and Phil Coulson. Well, according to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Phil Coulson is still alive. I don't regard that sacrilegious bullshit. Don't speak of that heresy referred to as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Don't do it. Alright. As far as you're concerned, Ghost Rider still does not exist in the MCU. I got it. Okay. But seriously though, I am very sorry about the passing of your mentor. Well, I'm not sorry. She was evil. Ooh, was she? Ooh. Yes, I am aware of your lifestyle, Graviton, and I do not approve of that. Wait, what? You don't approve of us supervillains? No, but I tolerate you being evil because you're just a mere mortal of no magic. And even though you are slightly above most other humans because of your superpowers, you are still not even near the level of us sorcerers. So it's fine for you to be evil because you can only do so much damage to the world. But if a sorcerer is evil, that puts the whole universe in danger. And that is why I renounced my loyalty to the Sorcerer Supreme. Because she decided to harness her powers from an evil, horrible demon monster. Hey, not all horrible demon monsters are that bad. I hung out with one once. It was all cool, man. We are talking about a demon who tried to destroy the whole entire world. Is that something you would want, Graviton? The destruction of all that we know? I guess not. I mean, I fought for this world to continue to exist, so no, I wouldn't like that, alright? I admit that, okay? This demon you're talking about, I admit that he is probably a little bit of a dick in that he tried to kill all of us. Well, I am exaggerating a little bit. He wasn't trying to destroy the world. He was trying to make it a part of his world. Oh, well then why the fuck didn't you let him do that? That would have been awesome. I'm getting a little bit tired of this boring ass world, alright? And plus it may or may not go down the shitter in the next year, so why not spice things up with another universe? But what you don't realize is that there would have been a price to pay. Time does not apply in the dark dimension. So once the world was temporarily plunged into that dimension, all of time had stopped. And that is how it would have always been, had it not been for me. Oh, you're right, I didn't think about that. I wouldn't have been able to continue with my YouTube shows because I would have been forever stuck in the same position I was in at the time for all of eternity. I think I was masturbating during that time. That would have been either really good or really bad. Well, you don't have to worry about that anymore. Thanks for pressing the play button after the pause button was pressed so that we don't have to keep living in a clock stopper situation. It is not fair for me to get all the credit, because if I do, then I would be no better than the Ancient One. I had help, or I helped someone else. Let me guess, it was Dr. Strong. If you mean Doctor Strange, then yes. But even though he saved all of humanity, at what price? I'll tell you the price, knowing that you had to deal with the devil. None of this would have happened if it wasn't for meddling with the dark dimensions in the first place. Right. This all started by the Ancient One harnessing his powers. Yes, and this prompted one of her students to realize that if you're going to harness the powers of Dormammu, then you might as well go all the way. You mean have sex with Dormammu? Good God, no! What the hell are you talking about? Hey, you said go all the way. I mean agreeing to be his slave. That's what I'm saying, you perverted freak. It's not my fault you're all uptight about your sexuality. This is not about that. This is about one of her students being corrupted by Dormammu. She lived for a very long time and had a lot of experience, so she was wise enough not to be corrupted by Dormammu. But what she did not realize is that her disciples were not as strong in the head to keep their minds from being corrupted. And that is exactly what happened to Caecilius. I think I've heard of Caecilius around the Supervillain circuit. Oh, really? Did you hear about the fate he suffered? The fate that he could have easily avoided had he not gone down the path that the Ancient One failed to keep him from going down. I believe I do know about his fate, and it's such an inspiration. Throughout his whole life, Caecilius was never comfortable with his body. He always knew deep down in his heart that there was someone else trapped in this body, but it was always hard for society to accept that. While searching for his true identity, he thought he had the answer. A sorcerer instead of a muggle. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong continuity. But he soon realized that was not the answer either, and soon he found other people who identified with him. And thanks to the eye-opening wisdom that Dormammu offered, Caecilius and his followers finally figured out who they truly were inside. They never identified as humans or sorcerers. What did they identify as? Well, they identified as big ol' blobby monsters. Yes, big ol' blobs of gunk that dwell in the dark dimension. And thanks to the generosity of Doctor Strange, he made Caecilius' dreams come true. As Caecilius would go through the transition of mindless onehood, he would finally be happy, with all of his intelligence and personality completely removed. All of that gone, nothing left other than a big blob in its place, but at least he would be a happy blob. And not just any blob, but a mindless one. I can't believe this. He is suffering one of the most horrible fates I can ever imagine, but you think it's some kind of prize. Yes, happiness is bliss. Now that he has none of that negative thoughts in his mind, he doesn't have to dwell in sadness or frustration or anger or any negative thinking. Well, I can't argue with that, I suppose. So thank God I am nothing like Caecilius. Well, in the comic books you're like Caecilius. In fact, I think Caecilius was reworked to be more like you in this universe. You're right, because in the comic book world, Caecilius is a follower of me. And I fulfilled the role of Caecilius, the former protege of the Ancient One who gets corrupted by Dormammu and rebels against the Sorcerer Supreme. But in this continuity he's been promoted, then who is his henchman? It was some guy played by Scott Adkins. He doesn't matter. The cloak of levitation killed him. Wow, that's one badass cape. Well, it killed him in this plane of existence. In the astral projection plane, he was killed by Doctor Strange. Wait a minute, I thought that guy was a famous surgeon. What's he doing with magic? He can't be a surgeon anymore because he suffered from a car accident. His hands no longer work, and he went to the Ancient One in the hopes of her fixing his hands, but instead he got something else from her, the abilities of sorcery. And that is when he realized that he could do something else with his life. No longer would he serve society as a doctor, helping people with their bodies. Instead, he would help people on a larger scale. Wait a minute. So the Ancient One could fix his hands? Oh man, now I'm really sad that she's dead, because she could have fixed me with my physical problems. I've got no penis at the moment. Wait a minute, didn't you say earlier that you masturbated? How can you do that without a penis? Hey, we all have our secrets. Well, it's not that simple. You see, a good example is Jonathan Pangborn. Pangborn was paralyzed. He could not walk, and there was no medical procedure that could ever fix him. In fact, he is still not fixed. He is still paralyzed. But do you know what made him able to walk, despite being paralyzed? Extra-dimensional manipulation. He used the manipulating of reality to make himself walk. That is the science behind what's going on right now. I am tapping into multiple infinite dimensions and choosing the forms of our extra-dimensional counterparts. I'm not simply turning us into other beings. I am simply showing you what we look like in those other dimensions. Well, I guess it's good to know that I look like this in another world. I'm kind of grasping it now. I was already aware of other worlds out there. I mean, how else would I be aware of my comic book counterpart if I believed in only one dimension? Yes, I'm opening your mind. Yes. Although now that I think of it, Pangborn is kind of a dick, isn't he? He's only using his powers to make himself walk and nothing else. He had the chance to be like Dr. Strong and also protect the world as a mighty sorcerer, but he just settled on being able to walk. Yes, and that type of arrogance is why he no longer has that privilege. Wait a minute, he can't walk anymore? No, because I took his magic away. Why? I mean, I know he's a dick for only settling on his personal wants, but that doesn't mean you have to take away his walking abilities. He's probably miserable now. Why did you have to do that? Why did you have to do that to poor Pangborn? Weren't you listening to me at the beginning of this interview? You can't trust that amount of magic users. Only the responsible ones deserve such powers, and I know for a fact that I am the only one. It is too dangerous to trust anyone else. So you could say that the problem is too many sorcerers, too many sorcerers, too many sorcerers, too many sorcerers. I wish you are taking this as seriously as I am. I get what you're saying. There's lots and lots of other people who claim to have these magical abilities just like you. And frankly, I think they're awesome. As I said at the beginning of this episode, there are still plenty of mysteries to uncover, such as that big giant Lovecraftian Mike Wazowski. Or how about that Freddy Krueger wannabe? Oh, what's that you say? Oh, he existed before Freddy Krueger, so technically Freddy Krueger is a nightmare wannabe? I know that Nightmare is no laughing matter. He resides from the dimension where all of your horrible dreams are real. Oh shit, that means in that dimension my worst nightmare is real. Ooh, wait a minute, how did you get that picture? And I must say, I admire all of these villains because even though they taunt me with whether or not they actually exist, they at least make it very difficult for the superheroes to capture them when they're not even sure if the villains exist. Does this villain exist? Well, Cloak and Dagger will probably have to figure that shit out. See you on Freeform! Does this villain exist? Well, if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. decides not to immediately drop Ghost Rider from the roster, probably, but we'll see. Does this villain exist? Well, according to a Blu-ray special feature, he does. But that's the only voucher we have so far, so we're just gonna have to keep settling for this guy. Does this villain exist? Well, let's see if Blade actually gets confirmed for this universe yet. You know, he sort of owns that pocket of the universe, the vampire pocket. Does this villain exist? The answer is yes, because we actually saw her interact with Mordo. But Mordo doesn't have to worry about her, because that's going to be the Runaways' problem, because the villains of those characters are their parents. Yes, that is the mommy of Sister Grimm, Mama Grimm. See you on Hulu. And all that leaves us is Cthulhu. Yes, I know that's not his name in this universe, but you all know it's Cthulhu. You idolize those beings? They could all easily cause the destruction of humanity. We were lucky this time by a fluke. It just so happened that Doctor Strange was able to use his Eye of Agamotto to imprison Dormammu in a time loop. Oh my god, he Groundhog Day'd him! Dormammu was basically Bill Murray! Yes, he was Bill Murray. And it was only because Dormammu was not able to get out of the time loop that he decided to strike a deal with Doctor Strange. But how do we know that the next time Earth has to deal with a larger-than-life threat, that Doctor Strange will able to save them again? We can't count on it. We need to ensure that this will never happen by getting rid of all those that can use magic. They need to be all gone. You mean if the supernatural actually exists? You still are skeptical after all that I have showed you? Hey man, it still could just be drugs. I've seen a lot more trippy than this during my college days. Tell me, have you ever seen this while doing drugs when you should have been studying for the midterm exams? Where the hell am I? Mordo! Mordo! Where are you? Where are you, Mordo? Well, at least I'm back to the way I usually am. But where the hell is Mordo? Where the hell am I? Where the hell are you? Where the hell am I? Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? I'm Graviton. Who the fuck are you? I'm Graviton. Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you two? Who the fuck are we? Who the fuck are you two? Who the fuck are you? We're Graviton. Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are all of you? We're all Graviton. Where the hell is Mordo? Are we gonna just be sitting here forever? Dr. Franklin Hall was just a simple supervillain who had gravitational powers, until one day he decided to interview a sorcerer by the name of Mordo. All Franklin Hall was trying to do was disprove the existence of the supernatural, but little did he know that he would forever be lost in the negative zone. Negative zone? I thought this was the dark dimension. It is the dark dimension. It's easier to lampoon the Twilight Zone when you say negative zone rather than dark dimension. But before we begin this week's episode of the Negative Zone, let's watch a segment first. What? No! We can't show a segment now! Not when we're in the dark dimension! It's gonna be all batshit and not make a lick of sense! My sentiments exactly! No! Yip shap snip snort yam nam ning yes yam yam snook moo yam yam yap dip 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 noop nilam nurse nya avis no nya nya we girl that you yap yam no yam no yam no yam one nurse yam more yam yam snap up to that no snack me. Not the plan up the joke out, Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God, we're back at the studio. Oh, everything's back to normal. Well, not everything. I mean, we still look like this, but at least we're back home. Or are we? We could still be in the dark dimension. You can't be sure. Fuck! This still could be going on? Oh no! Oh, I should have never messed with magic! Now I'm suffering the same fate as Jonathan Pangborn and Cassili Billy. You know, Caecilius, except I say Caecili Billy, because come on, man! Were you seriously not expecting people to point out the fact that the word silly is in his name? Caecilius? Caecili? Caecili Billy! Enough with this fixation on the word silly. You seem to surrender to the fact that magic is real. Yes, I do believe in magic now. I do believe in magic. I do. Then you have finally learned your lesson. Not to be so close-minded. Yes, magic exists, although it doesn't exist at the same time. What? After all I have shown you. Well, what you've shown me is that extra-dimensional manipulation is what magic basically is. And magic is what we don't know. And if we now know the science behind magic, then it's no longer magic. It's science. So this was all sci-fi. Wait a minute. I guess you kind of have a point. You fuck damn right I have a point. I mean, come on, we learned this way back in 2011 with Thor. You seriously haven't figured that out by now? So I guess that just means that Dormammu isn't a demon, is he? Nope, he's more likely just an extra-dimensional alien. but an almighty, powerful, extra-dimensional alien. I'm not arguing with that, of course. And I can see why you're trying to take the precautions against him. Yes, and that is what's most important. I can accept that my magic is more like undiscovered science, because it makes no difference. At the end of the day, what truly matters is that no matter what the magic is, science or not, what's important is that the right people are using it. And frankly, Doctor Strange and the rest of the sorcerers are not the right people. So you really believe that you're the only one fit for this job, and no one else? I mean, that's kind of pretentious of you. Not even Dr. Strong believed that he was fit to be the Sorcerer Supreme. At the end, he's too humble to call himself the Supreme. Because he's not. None of them are. Only I am. Do you have a specific reason for that? Yes, I do. You see, oh dear. I can't come up with any good reason why I would be more fit to be the only sorcerer. Oh no. Exactly. And yet you want to be the only sorcerer anyway. And do you know why? Because you are a supervillain! That's what supervillains are all about! They want all the power to themselves, regardless of whether or not they actually deserve it. Because they're evil! Like me and like you. So that is why you're more evil than the Ancient One. Because at least with her, she was willing to share all the superpowers with her disciples. Sure, she didn't share all of her secrets, but she still was trustworthy of certain people for certain abilities. But you, on the other hand, want no one to have those abilities. You want only yourself. And that is one of the 7 deadly sins. Greed! That makes you a big old douchebag! In other words, supervillain! I am not a supervillain! I am the hero of my own story! Hey man, we're all the heroes of our own stories. Loki is the hero of his own story. Ultron was the hero of his own story. Not anymore because he got his ass killed. But you get what I'm saying? We're all the heroes of our own story, babe. Fine then. Keep calling me a supervillain if that makes yourself happy. In fact, you might as well worship Dormammu too, since you love to be evil. Hey, Dormammu is cool and all, but does he really deserve his own segment? I mean, at this point, he's kind of overrated. I'll tell you who deserves her own segment. His sister. Alec Baldwin, Stephen Baldwin. Jake Gyllenhaal, Maggie Gyllenhaal. Elizabeth Olsen, the twins from The Shining. When you have more than one famous person in the family, there's always gonna be that elephant in the room as to who is more famous. And in this case, the less famous sibling is Umar. Or is it Umar? Amar? Umar? I don't know. I've never heard it pronounced. But do you know whose name I have heard pronounced? Dormammu. Here he is in this continuity, but not Umar. Here he is in this continuity, but not Umar. And here he is over here, and over here. And do you see any mention of the fact that he has a sister? No, she's completely ignored. Which is why I believe if Dr. Strong continues with his escapades, then he needs to give Umar the spotlight. Finally, she will be her own person, instead of just being under the shadow of her more famous brother. And furthermore, I believe that she... That's weird. How come the segment ended already? That was supposed to go on longer. I had more to say. How come it just stopped all of a sudden?
Oh, it seems as though this episode is being corrupted.
What? I mean, it's one thing to mess with the reality of this world, but to mess with the flow of this episode? I didn't realize you were that powerful to defy the logic of my own show.
I'm not doing this. I believe this is the work of Dormammu himself.
What? Dormammu is doing this? Well, you hate Dormammu, so why don't you stop him?
I'm not the one who provoked the dread Dormammu. You did, by refusing to give him his own segment.
What? That's a stupid reason.
Oh, is it really?
Wow, your voice got really deep. Did something happen to your balls?
That was not me who said that.
Where'd you go? Where did everything go? Oh no, not this again!
You're not talking to Mordo anymore. You're talking to me, Dormammu.
Hello, how's it going?
You can keep kissing my ass if you want. It's not going to stop your fate now.
What's my fate, Mr. Dread Dormammu?
Your fate is to end up like them.
The mindless ones? Oh no! Wait a minute! That one with the ponytail, is that who I think it is?
Yes, that's Kai Silius, and you are about to join him. Prepare yourself for the painful transformation into a mindless one. It will be a bitch.
Well, I mean, he looks kind of happy though. No troubles anymore? Maybe it won't be that bad. Voice your opinion, Caecilius, on what it's like as a mindless one. Oh, that's right. You're a mindless one. I forgot. You're only capable of saying that. Oh my god, that's depressing as hell. And I'm about to join him in a few seconds. Oh no!
This is what you get for shining the spotlight on my sister instead of me.
Hey, didn't you get enough of the spotlight? You are more interesting to draw, and you're the most fun to have as an action figure or to play in a video game. But your sister doesn't have all that privilege. She just looks like a normal human being, and therefore is less visually interesting. So why can't she get some attention every now and then? Come on, man. She's your sister. She's your family. She's just as powerful as you. So why don't you give her some brotherly love and support?
You do have a point. Blood is thicker than water, and after all, I am becoming more powerful by the minute, to the point where I am the new Galactus.
Wait, what? You're the new Galactus?
Yes, didn't you hear? I have been given the title of Devourer of Worlds, according to 20th Century Fox lawyers. Galactus is forbidden from entering the MCU. So that means that Marvel Studios needs someone else to be their Devourer of Worlds. And so they gave me that honor. Who needs Galactus when you have me, Dormammu?
I bet you wouldn't say that to his face.
Well then I summon him to confront me.
I got your message, Dormammu. What the fuck do you want?
You don't deserve your cosmic abilities anymore. Considering your 20th Century Fox form, I see before me all of that cosmic power belongs to me. And so I take it. I take it away from you. You don't deserve it.
Oh shit, oh god, oh god, you sucked it all out of me. Oh, you didn't even buy me dinner first. God, Jesus Christ, you're so rude like that. Well, guess what? I don't give a fuck about it anymore. What's important is that I love myself, alright? I don't give a fuck what people judge me for, okay? I just go with the flow, alright? If I'm gonna be owned by Fox, then I'm owned by Fox. I don't give a fuck. You can keep your MCU, whatever. I'm out of here, bitches.
Yes. Now I'm even more powerful than I ever dreamed. So who cares if my sister has her own segment? It's insignificant to me now that no good Doctor Strange made a fool out of me. Decided to turn my one and only scene into a stupid big joke about Groundhog Day, and to a lesser extent, the Edge of Tomorrow. So what's important is that he knows that I am a force to be reckoned with, considering now I have the title once used by Galactus. He needs to know that I am not a punchline.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, Dormammu. I really do. I really do, too. Doctor Strange shouldn't rely so heavily on comedy. I mean, I know that's the thing that Marvel likes to do, is implement a lot of comedy, and I know that's necessary for levity, you know, giving levity to a story. And if you don't, you wind up with Batman v Superman. That's all dark and depressing as all fuck, and I understand why you would need levity for a story that involves a horrible car accident that takes away your meaning in this world, that takes away the one thing that gave you meaning. And so I understand that you need levity with that story. You know, you need that levity with the acknowledgement of the darkness to give you the lesson that there's other ways to fulfill your life. I understand that, but the problem is relying too much on that levity. Way too much. To the point where it feels forced, where you're forcing in the comedy where it's not needed. And the biggest crime of that is that you were used as a punchline for one of those big-ass jokes that Doctor Strange was forcing. And because of that, it doesn't feel as cohesive as it could have been. I mean, it's still a fantastically trippy ride, but it could have been more fantastic if Dr. Strong had just used the comedy in moderation.
Huh, for a little insect, you really do understand a lot about things bigger than you. It's like you completely get me.
And so, will that make you set me free?
No! You just used comedy right now by referring to Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strong instead of Doctor Strange. That is just reminding me of the thing I hate most about that stupid, insignificant little universe. The comedy. And because of that, they don't deserve to merge with my dimension. They deserve to be destroyed.
Oh no! All of those post-defeat specials I had planned, all down the drain. Because the entire Earth is about to be destroyed! Not again!
Wait a minute. You were about to do more post-defeat specials?
Yes, I had them all lined up.
All of them? Including Thanos?
Yeah, I had that one planned. Although it heavily depends on whether or not I'll be able to contact him.
That means you would get in contact with all of the villains.
If possible, yes, if their schedules allow it.
Huh. This could mean you could be of some use to me.
Why? Couldn't you contact Thanos yourself?
I could. I am the new Galactus, but there are certain other beings that I cannot contact. But possibly you can. And I have big plans in the foreseeable future. And you could make those plans possible for me.
Really? Oh God, does that mean that I'm your slave?
You could say that. You could say that you are forever in my debt. I don't need you at the moment, but I will eventually.
Man, why can't you just get it over with now instead of putting it off till way later, several years from now?
That's what Marvel does, and I will do the same. Never forget this, little human. You are mine. So live your life. Continue with your little show about interviewing villains and whatever the hell you do on YouTube. Because it won't last forever. I'll make sure of it. Because I am Dormammu!
What happened? What just happened?
Did you just have an interview with Dormammu?
I think Dormammu just had an interview with me.
Now you understand that it is a bad idea to mess with the supernatural.
And I had to pay the price for it, because now I am a slave of Dormammu.
You're just like Caecilius now, which means you need to be destroyed.
Oh great, now you're gonna kill me?
Yes, I am doing the world a favor. Anyone who is associated with Dormammu needs to be destroyed.
Fine, get rid of me, just like how you're getting rid of all the other sorcerers. I bet when you're the last one standing, you're just gonna be really boring with your superpowers, just like how you usually are.
What do you mean by that? Didn't you see all that trippy stuff I did to you?
Yeah, but you could have done a whole lot more than that. You could have taken me to all these other extra-dimensional, weird-ass, freaky places and discovered all this kind of stuff.
Hasn't it occurred to you that maybe before I show you all of the extra-dimensional stuff that the magical worlds have to offer, you needed first to see how your own world would be affected by magic. That's why all of these cityscapes and buildings were transformed into M.C. Escher paintings and kaleidoscopes, to show you what the magic is like with the real world. And when you were amazed by what magic could be in your world, then that would make you excited for what magic would have to offer in other worlds, like the Nightmare Realm, or the Dark Dimension, or the Quantum Realm, or the Negative Zone, depending on whether or not we have the rights to that, or even the Nexus of Realities. Did you hear that, Howard the Duck and Man-Thing? You guys too.
Huh. I never thought of that.
All of this magical whimsicalness that I could experience.
It's just too bad I can't experience it because you're about to kill me.
You're right. If I kill you now, I would never get to prove my point. So I guess that means you're just gonna have to keep living until my point is proven.
And plus, if Dormammu ever contacts me, that would give you the chance to, give him the old killaroo.
You're right. Doctor Strange foolishly assumed that the only way to defeat Dormammu was to bargain with him, when in reality there is a way to kill him, and I will find that way, and you will be my bait. This will be excellent. You will be of use to me.
Oh, fuck. This is the second time in the last 10 minutes I've heard someone say that to me. God damn it.
Hey, I know something that will cheer you up.
What? What's gonna cheer me up?
This.
Yeah, Disney does make everything better.
Ole ole!
I can understand that this is a lot to take in. I know. This video has changed your life and has changed my life.
Oh, these things that I couldn't have fathomed existing really do exist.
Come on, Graviton, get it together. Get it together, Graviton. Grasp it. Grasp it.
Okay. Alright. Okay.
I think I'm beginning to comprehend it. But now I immediately regret that I'm completely stable in the head now, because I just realized which villain I'm gonna have to interview next time. Jack-o'-lantern. This won't be a post-defeat, this will be a post-victory. Yes, he will be the very first villain that I've interviewed that actually won his battle. Usually, I would be all over that. I would be coming all over the place. It would be messy, but I would be happy. But I'm not happy. And you know why I'm not happy? Because his victory was not in a movie or a comic book or a TV show. No, his victory was in real life, which means that you guys are suffering from it. I don't mind if fictional people suffer from the wrath of us supervillains, because they're fictional and we're fictional and we're like, oh yay, fuck those fictional people. You know, it's fine, it's whatever, they're fictional, they're not real. But you guys are real. So how am I supposed to just sit here and encourage him to continue to do this? I can't condone that, so you know what? No, this interview is cancelled. No interview with Jack-o'-lantern. No, I am not interviewing Jack-o'-lantern. But unfortunately, refusing to interview him is the only thing that I can do, because I'm a fictional character.
which means you will have to be the ones to take a stand against him in real life. Real people like you watching, viewers. You are the superheroes of your world. Now, I'm not saying you should beat him up. No, don't do that. That's gonna put you in jail. Leave that to us supervillains and superheroes. We're the ones who beat each other up, alright? You've gotta be more creative than that. And make sure it's within the legal system, you know. Alright. Surely we have a bright future ahead of us. And the way I'm going to make sure of that is by looking into the future. But how will I do that, you ask? Well, give me a few months till probably March. Yeah, March is a good month. By then I will present to you the future of this world. And from what I've seen so far, it's not completely destroyed, but it is a little bit. But I don't think it's because of Jack-O-Lantern. I think it's because of a bunch of cyborgs. I will see you next time.